Hi guys, Ramsey here. Welcome to another video. Today we have a first impression, and we have a special first impression because this is a decant that was sent to me by one of the fragrance brothers, fragrance subscribers to my channel, friends in the fragcom, whatever you want to call it. DLQualia is the name that he goes by, both on YouTube, and I think he also said Instagram and Facebook, and so you'll find him in the comments from time to time. So my friend, thank you very much. It was very kind for you to send me all these different Roja Dove samples. This is one. There's about 10 different ones. He basically went through my video that I did on Roja Dove, and he looked at the ones that I had and said, hey, here are the ones that you don't have. Do you want to kind of sample them and share your thoughts with the fragcom? So there was an interview today that took place on Persilase's channel where he interviewed a guy named Gabe Oppenheim, who wrote a book called The Ghost Perfumer about some of the stuff that happened with Pierre Bourdon and Creed, and, you know, stuff like that. And Gabe mentioned that the reception from the fragrance community to him was so accepting, so mind-boggling, and so kind and warm. And, you know, there's so many good people here. There's always going to be the one or two bad apples, but I have found that is also very true. The fragrance community is very accepting. You know, they want to have like-minded people share their passion of perfumery with them. And this is just one of many examples. So obviously, the fact that this was sent to me doesn't change my opinions. They will be my own. And this fragrance is a fragrance from Roja Dove called L'Oscar pour Homme. That's basically the way that it is written right there. And this is an EDP concentration, so I obviously don't have a full bottle, but he did give me enough to do a full wear, which I am doing today. It's my scent of the day. I have a 6-hour dry down here, and I have about a 15-minute dry down here on my right hand. And this is a very interesting fragrance. So it is an eau de parfum concentration for Roja Dove, which is pretty strange. Most of his fragrances are now either Parfum Cologne or Parfum. This came out in 2018, so I don't obviously have the bottle because I just have a decant, but I can show you what one of the eau de parfum concentration bottles look like, and it basically looks like this. This is Oligarch, and you'll notice that the cap is different than the cap from the Parfum concentration with all the Swarovski crystals. This is just pure gold looking, so there's no embedded crystals in the cap, and it's got Roja's signature on the top. This fragrance is really kind of took me by surprise, and I'll tell you why. I went on Fragrantica and I looked it up. So this is a 2018 launch. So we're talking 4 years ago. It's 2022 now. And you know, I'm looking through the notes, everything looks great, and then you get down to the bottom where you usually see people leave comments. There are 0 comments on this fragrance, literally 0. So I went to base notes, there's 1 comment on it. And usually Roja Dove, especially from these guys who are kind of new into fragrance, or, you know, maybe they have new money and they think that, oh, if the fragrance is higher priced, it's better, which I fell into that trap earlier in my fragrance journey. That, you know, they go for this and they hype it up and they show off the bottles on Instagram and all that stuff, which I don't do. I don't care about that. But literally 0 comments on Fragrantica, 0 for a 4-year-old Roja. So that shocked me, number one. So I'm wearing the fragrance today, and I'm realizing that I actually really like this fragrance, which goes, you know, the hyped fragrances I notice a lot of times I don't like. It's the under the radar stuff that I do tend to like, and not just because it's under the radar. I actually didn't check this until just recently. I wanted to wear the fragrance first before I looked at any of the notes and stuff like that. I will tell you that I think this is a summer fragrance. So let me see if I can give you just kind of the first impression, because this is a first impression. This is the first day that I'm wearing this. So if I had to classify this fragrance, I would basically call it a citrus spicy with a bit of heavy woods underneath, which sounds a little bit bland. However, Roja Dove is very good at using the note of labdanum. That is, and you know, with this Roja Dove brand, there's a lot of people that love to hate the brand because of the price point, and it makes perfect sense. I'm kind of the other side. Sometimes I hate to love this brand because you want to hate it, but there are things that they put out that you just have to kind of step back and, give it an applaud. They put out good perfumery. They use quality ingredients. Whoever the perfumer is that's making this stuff for him is putting out good products. So this is his $3,500 a bottle Hot Lux. This is the Discovery Atomizer. It's absolutely insanely priced. But this is one of the best labdanum fragrances I've ever gotten my nose on, along with Chanel's Le Lion. These two are kind of neck and neck, and the Chanel is, 10 times cheaper. So he loves the note of labdanum, and I do too. I've had real labdanum. You used to be able to buy it on Amazon, and it would come in this sticky thing that you could smell, and it was, kind of like this honeyed type smell. And it's very resinous, beautiful. You could almost make a perfume out of it on its own. But what he's done with La Oscar is he's basically used a top of what I initially thought before I looked at the notes was some kind of lime and lemon combination. I thought it was maybe like lime, lemon, bergamot, some basic standard top. Now, when I look in Fragrantica, it actually says that the top note is grapefruit. And reading that, I think I can see that. I get the grapefruit, but I also get some other citruses. So imagine a citrus top with a middle note of a old school carnation, which I love. That is a note that used to be big in classic male perfumery from the 70s and 80s. You used to always see carnation in men's fragrance, even leaking into the 90s. Then all of a sudden it was like verboten, you don't use carnation in men's fragrances anymore because it's considered to be old school. And nowadays the people making these fragrances, they don't want to be considered old school. So the note of carnation has been just basically stripped. And he uses a beautiful carnation, note here. He also uses a Mayflower note, which is a unique note. Again, that's something that you don't see in every composition. I don't think I can think of another fragrance that I own, and I own God knows how many bottles, over 500 for sure, that have a Mayflower note. I can't think of a single one. So you have the old school carnation that I love. You have the Mayflower, and I've told you in the past that citrus fragrances to me, this is kind of like this citrus heavy fragrance. Citrus fragrances to me a lot of times are a little bit boring, like Chanel Pour Monsieur EDT, boring. Eau Sauvage, boring. Again, this is my opinion, my personal taste. I like things that are a little bit different than that. That's one of the categories that I struggle with. So I consider this a citrus fragrance because of that, opening, and it, the grapefruit, the bergamot, whatever they're using, it does seem to really last and imply this citrus type fragrance. But I really like how there's some depth underneath the fragrance to me. And what they've done is they used a couple notes, a few that you usually don't see in the base. So the base of this has nutmeg, which is usually more in the top and the mid, and galbanum, which is also normally in the top and the mid. So galbanum gives off this bitter green type effect. And it's beautifully done in fragrances like number 19 and stuff like that. And the grapefruit just kind of blends into that galbanum once you hit the base. There's also a few different types of woods in the base, which, make it very masculine. There's cedar wood, gaiac wood, which can sometimes give off this barbecue-like smell. I don't get that from the gaiac wood here. And a beautiful sandalwood, which makes it very elegant. And then I think they've taken the vetiver that they used in Oligarch, which I said, almost hints a little bit at Terre de Mes. And they've mixed it with this celery seed and then black and pink pepper in the base. And oak moss. And masculine oak moss. And this is a very interesting combination for me, especially for summer. The other thing I noticed is that there was only one other review on YouTube. Literally one review. It was done within the last year from a guy I think the name of his channel is Scented Memory or Scented Memories. Either way, if you look up Roja's L'Oscar pour Homme, he will be the only one that comes up at the top because he has the exclusive review on this fragrance. And I subscribed to his channel because he only had 1,500 subscribers, but he really seemed to, know his notes and know his stuff and have a love for fragrance, which is what I ask in a reviewer that I follow. And he did a pretty good breakdown of this. Apparently he owns a bottle, but I mention it because even on YouTube, there's only one review of a Roja fragrance. So this is not something that's talked about. This L'Oscar is very under the radar. I should have mentioned that the L'Oscar, by the way, is a very expensive hotel in London. And I looked up the room rates just as kind of like just to see how expensive we're talking, and it starts at £1,000 a night. So what is that, like $1,300 in American dollars per night? And that's starting at. So I'm guessing if you really want a nice room, well, I guess any room that's $1,000 a night is going to be nice. But if you want more amenities, then you're talking even more money. So very posh hotel. Any hotel that can commission Roja Dove to make a scent just for them must be he's done scents for, I think, Rolls-Royce and all that kind of stuff. So this is kind of one of those, and I think because it's less distributed, it's a little bit under the radar. You don't hear people talk about it in Fragcom and stuff like that, but I really like this fragrance. And the other thing is that since it's an eau de parfum, these, like I said, the caps that look like this, the gold, are his eau de parfums. Since it's an eau de parfum concentration, it's not as ridiculously expensive for 50 ml. So I think Oligarch is like, 275 American dollars or something. So it's like half the price of the parfum concentrations. And so that makes it a little bit more manageable. And then maybe if you can find it on discount, or if you can find a partial bottle or something like that, if you're looking for what I would consider a summer scent that has some heft, the guy that did the other review that I was watching, Scented Memory or whatever his name was, he mentioned that he saw this as a winter scent and a summer scent. It is a little cool today. It's in the 50s. I don't know if I see this as much as a winter scent. I'm enjoying it, but I think I would enjoy it even more in the summer if it was hotter here in Texas, which it normally is. It's normally, you're talking 70s, 80s, 90s, 9 months out of the year. And so, because of that, this would be a perfect fragrance for somebody like me. If you're in a hot country, this is definitely one to keep your eye on. And the fact that there's really nobody talking about it means you're probably going to smell very unique, because most people, they're going off of, hype, and they're going off of these type of reviews and people pumping up a fragrance about compliments and stuff like that. And so because of that, this is something that if you want to smell different, if you want to smell unique, and there is something that's very posh about this, there's something that is very high end, if you will. And the use of labdanum here, labdanum is listed as a base note, as a mid note. But it's usually somewhere in the mid and the base in his fragrances. And, there's only 13 notes listed, which for a Roja Dove fragrance is actually not that many. This is a pretty simple composition, all things told. And so there's also a note of celery seed, which is another interesting note that you don't see in every single fragrance. You see carrot seed sometimes. You don't always see celery seed. So this is an interesting composition to me. I don't think I would run out and buy a bottle at full retail right this second, but it's definitely one I'm going to put on my, watch list, you could say. And if I ever see a bottle for a good price, even a partial, I think I would scoop this up, because this is something that would get a lot of wear, especially in warmer weather. Yeah, this is really, really nice stuff. And that's why I say sometimes I hate to love the House of Roja, because you don't want to like some of the stuff that they put out at the exorbitant prices. $3,500 for Hot Lux is insanity, even though it's a fantastic labdanum and oak moss bomb. But then they put out stuff like this, and I never would have smelled this if not for the generosity and kindness of other fragrance community members. So I just wanted to say, DLQualia, thank you again for your kindness. I really do appreciate it. You know, it's a joy kind of sharing these first impressions with you guys, and that's all this is, a first impression. It obviously could change, but you know, at initial first impression, I like it. I think this is one to keep on the watch list. So there will be other first impressions from the decants that DLQualia sent me. And again, I really appreciate you guys supporting my channel. I think we just hit 350 subscribers within the first month and week or so of me doing this. So, you know, I appreciate each and every one of you that have been, you know, commenting and liking and supporting my videos. And, you know, I'm also really enjoying sharing some of these thoughts with you guys. I used to think that perfume was just something that I wore for myself, and the only joy I would ever get out of it is the joy that came from wearing the fragrance. But in reality, I'm getting a lot of joy sharing these kind of videos with you guys. You can see my REM band shirt, one of my favorite bands in the video. But anyways, La Oscar, huge under the radar fragrance from a house that gets a lot of hype nowadays. Actually, of all the videos that I've done, the family portrait of Roja is the most watched by far. Not even close. I thought it would be the vintage videos because so many of the people know that I'm big into vintage, but it's not. People want the Roja Dove content, and so that is by far the #1 watched video. So again, love to hate, hate to love the house, whatever it may be. He does use good ingredients. They put out good stuff, even though a lot of the stuff you could argue is Roja a clone house, this, that, or whatever. This does not feel like a clone to me. It feels like an original composition. It feels like it was done using fantastic ingredients, on and on and on. So I hope you've enjoyed the first impression. And if you guys have experience with this, please do let me know in the comments. Thank you for sharing some time with me. Cheers. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.